And here with Life Health More, and I am real excited about today's story. The show that we're doing has to do with sleeping and resting and bagging some Z's, as they say, getting a little shut-eye. And I don't think everybody realizes how important this is. And truth be known, as I began doing research for this particular show, I was amazed at the information that was out there, and I'm going to share some of that with you today. I want to reiterate the fact that lifehealthmore.net is my assistance training, advanced training for fitness, wholeness, the whole approach that I do with coaching. And you can get that at no cost to you at lifehealthmore.net. Just give me your name and your email address, and you'll begin to get the videos that are training, and then subsequently they follow with more emails that have information, just things to consider along the way. Again, remember that Life Health More on Facebook, as well as my lifehealthmore.net page. It's a lot of words here, but they're one and the same. They sort of dovetail together. And you can get in touch with me through my website, or the easier way to do it is to send me a private message on Facebook through Life Health More, okay? And then that way you can get your questions answered. Now, here's the deal. The information that I'm doing in these shows, the subject matter, happens to be things that clients have in my classes, people have talked to me, or the one-on-one coaching clients that I'm working with will say, you know, this is a really good thing that we're talking about. You really need to do a show about it. So that's where they come from. But I'm super excited about the possibility of you guys writing to me and asking me for advice and questions and letting me do a show based on that. And of course, I'd keep everything anonymous unless you're interested in having me do a show where you and I are live together. And I am excited. I'd be super excited about that. I finally learned the software and have been doing that so that we could go live and you can ask your questions and just see if you could catch me off guard. You know, I like a challenge. It's the mental gymnastics that's exciting. So that said, I hope you decide to take that training, and because it's got lots of information that could help you in your path toward what? Toward being the best version of yourself. And we are doing for 2018 holistic wellness. This is a great year, you guys. I can feel it in my bones. And this is the time for all of us across the board to be the best possible versions of ourselves. So that's what we're working on. Now, back to sleep. This is ingredient number 4 in our holistic wellness ingredients, 8 ingredients of that wellness. This comes from the work that I do one-on-one coaching, and I'm sort of breaking it down to give you guys an idea of how we are approaching life. In holism, it's everything. There's more than just diet and exercise, way more than just diet and exercise. So I didn't know if you realize that adults spend a third of their life sleeping. Did you realize that? Now, sleep is, you know, it's not just a time when we're going to shut down, and it's a time, you know, I think that some people were thinking that, I know when I discussed it with one of my clients yesterday, she was saying, you know, it's just a time where we need to rest because we need to sort of, you know, zone out. And I said, yeah, well, that's what I thought. But actually what happens while you're sleeping is there is really important processing that's going on in the body and specifically in the brain. Yeah, really, really, really. So it's an active time where the body is being restored, the brain is being restored. There's a processing and a solidifying and consolidation of memories. They're organizing, the brain is organizing data, and this is the time when it can problem solve. If you have an issue that you're working on, or let's say that you're trying to choose something as what would be seemingly frivolous as a paint color, sometimes that will come to you, and it comes sometimes in dreams, and sometimes it comes when you wake up and you sort of have an epiphany and you go, why didn't I ever think of that? And I remember a story from when I was a kid. My friend's mother was trying to figure out the color to paint her shutters on the house. She had a historical home that was over 100 years old. You know, you don't want to be too wild, and you want to have colors that would be kind of the time period. And especially, I come from Dover, Delaware, which is a great town. I was so grateful to grow up in that town, and it's a historical town. And so you have this colonial architecture, and you want things to look like a colonial community. Okay, it's not like Williamsburg, but still it's old. So anyway, she was trying to figure out what to do, what color to paint, and fretting about it. And she had a dream, and when she woke up, she remembered that in her dream she had seen a peacock feather, and the color in the peacock feather was what she ended up using. It was just exactly what she wanted, and she was able to match that paint and do that paint color. So those sorts of ways that the brain can work at those times in problem solving. So it also, that when you're sleeping and resting, people that their blood pressure can decrease, can go down 20 to 30%, and the heart rate goes down 10 to 20%. So it's a really good time. Even the heart is going to rest. The lungs are going to rest. They have to work 24/7, please, right? And so this is a time for them to rest. Now there's science. There's scientific fact in that. And what I also found was, while there were lots of studies about sleeping and everything, every single report that I read said, we don't really understand sleep completely. They have a glimpse of it. They understand some of it. They understand, dreaming a little, but it's still one of these, it's like the ocean and like space. It's an area that they're not sure, because what does it deal with primarily? It deals with the brain, and the brain is so complex and magnificent. The brain is, we're talking the hard drive of our bodies. Okay. So I thought that I would just talk a little bit about the cycles and about sleep and what it is. So cycles, let's see. We have, there are several stages. Let's say there's a light sleep, there's a deep sleep, there's a REM sleep, okay? And in REM is when you have dreams. It's complex. And did you know that when you're in that deep green, that's rapid eye movement, REM, when you're in that state, that the skeletal muscles are paralyzed and you don't move. That's when you're deepest in your sleep. Your eyes might be moving, but you are out. They say sleeping like a baby. That's it. That's what it is. Adults, now this is just a generalization, and there are lots, they break down how much sleep people should have. But I just took 4 of them. Okay. So it's like, we have adults on the average should have 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. That if a 1-year-old sleep 11 to 14 hours and sometimes more. And kids that are like school age kids, 9 to 11, and teenagers, 8 to 10 hours. Isn't that interesting? 8 to 10 hours. There's a lot of growth going on there, and a lot of growth going on in those babies, in those little babies. Now that's just an average. And I had asked for a poll, and most of the people were in the area of, 5 hours or 5 to 8 hours. And I had only one person that said that she gets actually more than 8 hours a night, which I think would be splendid. That would really, really nice. What happens with my sleep is that I wake up in the morning, mostly because my body is sore from being in one position or sleeping and lying down, and I have to get up and start to do my stretching. And that has to do with some of the damage in my body from the scar tissue in my muscles and everything from injuries and that sort of thing. So that's what wakes me in the morning. That's usually what wakes me. But the sleep cycle goes like this, whereas the waking state, you go to bed, you lie down, you're lying there awake, and that's considered the 0, okay? And then it goes into the non-REM, which is stage, that's what they call the light sleep, stage 1, and then you go into stage 2, and then you go into stage 3, okay? Then you get into the REM stage, which is known as an R, it has an R, okay? Now, after the REM stage, that is where there's like less than a minute that you can kind of sort of wake up, not much, but you do kind of sort of. That from 0 to the REM state and then the waking is usually, on the average, about 90 minutes, okay? And then at that point, that's where some people might have an issue where they will wake up at that point, you know, where you're a little wakeful, and then, but most of the time people will turn around, they go right back to the non-REM stage 1, non-REM stage 2, and non-REM stage 3 seems to drop out, and it goes right into the rapid eye movement, deep sleep again, okay, in the later stages. And it just repeats for the time period that you're in bed. When we wake up to go to the bathroom, or just, you know, you're wakeful for the night, or something awakens you, it's more likely that you were in that stage 1, 2, or 3, or in that teeny little wakeful state after your REM, okay, that you would wake up. Now, if you have a problem with waking, it's not always an issue, okay? It's not always serious. It's not always that something is wrong, okay? Nor is there a problem if you're sleepy on the next day. You know, it's not really considered, well, you don't, what do you mean you don't sleep? Well, I was tired this morning. Are you sleeping well? Do you have a problem? Well, that's the question you have to chart for yourself and figure out, because frequency and the intensity and the timing of your sleep pattern, and of how often you're exhausted the next day, and you just seem to be dropping off to sleep when you're sitting at the computer at work or whatever. That's the thing that when the intensity and the frequency gets, you know, picks up a little bit more, that's when you might have to go to see your doctor. However, I'm going to recommend a couple things that you can do first, okay? If you want to sleep better, the first thing that you might need to do is deal with your stress. And we have spoken about stress in some of my other shows. And so those things that we're not going to get into now, how to eliminate stress, because I've talked about it before, okay? But if you try to get rid of the stress in your body, you can, well, I am going to talk. All right, fine. I'm going to talk about it. The first thing that you could do is try to eliminate stress in your life. Take some of the things off your plate, okay? And another way to handle it is to exercise, okay? We want to make sure that you don't have a lot of caffeine or a lot of sugar later in the afternoon or in the evening. Definitely not in the evening before bed, because that could kick it off. And sometimes people have found that they don't have caffeine for dinner, but they still have this problem with falling asleep or staying asleep. So they eliminate the caffeine, you know, lunchtime, and then they're okay or not. And so what do you think I'm about to tell you, that how you can figure that out? It's your journal. Get your journal, begin to write down when you had the caffeine. And this is if you have a problem with sleep, okay? If you go to bed, bammo, hit that head hits the pillow, and you are out until the alarm goes off in the morning, and you're great and vivacious the next day, you don't have a problem, baby. Just go right with it, okay? And you're fine. But for those of you that do, consider the caffeine thing. And the logging on your journal will really help you, because you're not going to be able to track something over a period of days and weeks, if you're just trying to keep that information in your head, it's just too much. You got to write it down. Okay. So try to keep your sleep schedule regular. Okay. So that even on the weekends, if you get up for work at 5 o'clock, I know you don't have to get up on the weekends at 5 o'clock, but get up by like 6 or 7 and get your day moving. So it's pretty much in the normal routine. Try to go to bed at about the same time. It's when people think that I am going to catch up for my sleep on the weekends and they're in bed for 20 hours. That doesn't do anything. It doesn't truly help you to catch up, because what it's going to do is perpetuate the cycle of now you can't go to sleep on Sunday night and you can't get up for work on Monday morning. And then the whole thing starts all over again where you're going, okay, I have to get up at 5 to go to work. And, so it just perpetuates itself. So make it so it's a little bit more reasonable. So let's say your bedtime is always 11 o'clock. And so that on the weekends come, well, let's see, 11 o'clock. And then let's say that I'll get up at 7. Okay. Because that's given me about my 8 hours of sleep. So that's how you want to play with it to see if it's, not going to be great differences. The other thing is to make sure you have a good mattress that's going to be supportive, that's going to be comfortable, that's going to allow you to lay in bed for 8 hours and not complain that your back hurts or your hips hurt or your shoulder hurts. And so good mattress, number one. Number two, how you sleep is important, whether you're on your back or on your shoulders, on your side, on your stomach. So that has to do, those decisions need to do, it happens. That's from the time you were a child, you were sleeping in this certain way, and that's just a habit. However, let's use Karen for an example, because I'm a good example of this. I have a bad left shoulder. And this is from years of lifting like a crazy person. So anyway, my shoulder hurts. And so when I sleep on my left side, which is what I am drawn to doing all the time, that's just a natural thing that I'll climb into bed and I go right on my, oh, great, I can't be on my left. Okay. So then I roll over to my right, or I am on my back kind of tilted a little bit left, not all the way, because when I do that, the stress, and then my spine is not straight, my head is pushed up, and it puts strain on my neck, and then the pressure on my shoulder, and the next day my shoulder is giving me a fit, or I wake up in the night because I've got pins and needles because I've pinched a nerve in there somehow. So recognize if your arms hurt, your shoulders hurt, your neck hurts, you want to make sure that you're sleeping in the best position for you. Hips can also be sore. So there are ways to work around that with pillows. I have a bolster pillow that is just, it's like a decorative pillow, and it's pretty firm. And I put it next to me so that in my sleep, if I try to roll over, it's there, it's in my way. Now, sometimes I find that I've pitched it across the room and I'm on my side anyway, but it's something to keep me off that shoulder. And it helps, it does help. So it's a process of just trying to figure out what's best for you. But sleep is, remember, so important. The recovery of the body and the brain, especially. That big computer up there really needs to have the time to do the work that it needs to do so that our lives are more orderly, that we get epiphanies when we need it. The brain will sort out issues and problems. And I'm not even going to get into conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious, all that stuff. But the fact of the matter is that you do need rest. And it's not just a matter of, I'm going to go pass out. You do, but you're working hard during that period of time. So at the end here, I want you to make sure that you recognize you're going to be better for getting better sleep. And it is one of the 8 ingredients in a holistic wellness program that we're doing for 2018. So let's see, I am going to whip this thing up here, this card. I sent this out to people who are part of my program and have been customers of mine. And I'm offering this to everybody, if you're not a present customer, to get a health print. And the address is lifehealthmore.myshackley.com/health print. And you are welcome to come and take this health print. And when we discuss it, I'll give you a call. We'll go through it just on the phone. We don't have to get together. Talk about your analysis. It's wonderful. It's easy. It'll take you 5 minutes. It's 20 questions, and it'll give you a really great look at the goals that you want to go work toward for your health, your nutrition, your fitness, your lifestyle. And then the coach, me, will talk to you about those things. And after you do that, I will mail you a gift from me. So I'd love to do that. I'd love to include you in this great program. My company came out with this about a year ago, and it's fantastic. It's a great way to get an analysis and see, okay, this is where I'm standing. This is where I am. Now, what can I do to get better? Because you're giving the computer program, you're giving it 3 areas that you'd like to be a little bit more conscious of and work with. So things are great, guys, in 2018. I'd like you to come along with myself and all my friends that are doing this program, because we're going to get great results this year. Thanks a lot. You have a great day.